Hi, welcome back to Real Beer Revolution. I'm Mike, and today we have some friends coming over that are keen to get started home brewing their own beers. So we're going back to basics, brewing in a bag, and getting them set up with a list of ingredients that they can get started brewing a small batch of beer for as little as possible. So this is just like, I've just made a list of everything that you kind of would need, like to do this,
Yes.
yeah, as like efficiently, as cheaply as possible. So that bag from Beer Guevara is $50. Yeah, you need some kind of fermenter. So like that one we got over there.
How much are the plastic ones? Are they more expensive?
So you can get a 10-liter bucket, which would be pretty cool. But you need a bigger saucepan then, obviously. Yeah. So my saucepan is 7 liters. Yeah.
So then that carboy works out fine.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to buy a saucepan that's dedicated to brewing that you're not cooking in. But I gave this a really good clean. You know, you don't really want any oils from your food or flavors getting in, but it is stainless steel, and I gave it a good clean with some caustic. So.
The ones are pretty pricey, aren't they?
But look, so that was that's $200 for the plastic 10-liter, and for the glass fermenter is $165. So it's like pretty much the same. It comes with an airlock and the bung and the glass, and this is 5 liters. So this you could get 4 liters of beer out of. So two growlers basically. Yeah. As a siphon, you need a siphon. So you need something to get your beer out of the glass carboy.
Is that like pump?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like with this one, you can see at the bottom here, it's got a little tap.
Oh yeah.
Zoom down. So in theory, like with this, you could just connect a bit of pipe up to there, and you could get it out of the fermenter without the need for a siphon. So the buckets have like advantages over the. And this is just a really simple siphon. So you put it in, you give it a shake, and there's a mechanism in there that starts the siphon in effect off. Brush to clean your fermenter out. The worst thing with the glass ones is trying to get in there. You know, with the plastic, you can open the bucket up and you can give it a good scrub with a cloth. But with the glass, the glass you need to get the brush in. Thermometer, I would say, is essential. You know, this is just a cheap one like we're using today, $90. Some kind of sanitizer, so you can go crazy with different types of sanitizers. There's a whole load of them. I tend to use the City San and iodine. So the iodine it's $45 for 100 ml. It's the cheapest like sanitizer to buy, and it's pretty good. I mean, they use it to operate on in theaters, iodine, so it must be pretty sanitary. And a mash paddle, so maybe not an oversized one that we're using.
You could just use like a slotted spoon though.
Yeah.
Like a big enough one.
Yeah, you could definitely. Yeah, if you have one. Yeah, for sure. So that might not be necessary, but it's nice to. Yeah. This is $48 for a plastic mash paddle. It works. You can use it in the boil, as well. So that's pretty much everything you need. You definitely need. But assuming that you've already got like a pot that's big enough. Yeah. So I would say minimum of 7 liters pot, preferably like stainless steel, but you can use that if you've got one dedicated to brewing. So you buy an aluminium one dedicated to brewing. I haven't put any cleaner in there. Yeah. You can use sunlight to clean your brewing equipment as long as you rinse it properly afterwards. And I like to run a bit of sanitizer through afterwards, even though you don't need to sanitize your brewing equipment. I like to do it just to make sure that the lemony flavor of the sunlight is out. Funnel, most people have a funnel. Colander, and one thing I've left off here would be a sieve, as well, a nice thing to have. And like I haven't included hydrometer and the test jar, because in theory, you know, if you follow your recipe, you can brew and have a pretty good idea of what your final gravity is by giving it enough time and tasting. But in an ideal world, if you want to brew beer, you do want to check your gravities to know how much alcohol is in the. Well, first to know that you've converted your grains into sugars for fermenting, but also to know that the fermentation is finished. it's not essential to get started with, but it would probably be something you want to buy relatively soon. And then like some kind of brew cleaner would be better than using Sunlight. So you can buy this Oxydet. This will last you quite a while. It's not that expensive, so. Yeah. But again, it's not 100% essential. And then after you've made your beer, like putting it in something, and trying to work out a way to do that like as cheaply as possible. Most of us have growlers anyway, so, and they're 2 liters. If you're brewing 4 liters, you know, you can fill 2 of those. So like that's probably, a growler is probably the cheapest way to get started. I think their pressure rating's fine. I have bottle conditioned in a growler before. So then when your beer's finished fermenting, you would siphon into the growler, but before that you put a small amount of sugar syrup. Okay. And I'll talk through like on a separate one about how to calculate. There's a online calculator that you use to work out like how much sugar you need. And then that sugar then reacts with the yeast that's left in the beer to carbonate so it forms a small like fermentation basically, and it'll carbonate the beer.
So it's like a secondary fermentation.
It's a secondary fermentation, in the growler in this case, So yeah, that's probably what we're going to do with this one. We'll probably put it in the growler.
And how long would that process take for the secondary fermentation to almost complete?
It takes a good week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then you can fill your growler and take it to the beach that day.
No, it'll be sweeter than you expect and flat. These party kegs are quite cool though. I quite like the idea of using them. They're 5 liters in capacity. So if you're brewing like a 5 liter batch, or even if you brew like 10 liters, you could fill one to the top. The cheaper ones, so you get 4 of these. So if you went in with a mate, you know, because you probably need 2 of them. You get 2 of these for $200.
Yeah.
The only negative with these though, with this type of one, is that you tap from the bottom, so you open the top. If you don't drink that beer in a day, it's not going to be great anymore. Oxygen's going to get in, obviously through the top, in order for the beer to come out the bottom. So I put these on, but really you'd probably want to get this bundle here, which is a bit more expensive, but it has the tap from the top, and you have little CO2 gas cylinders. So you know you could still carbonate in the keg like using sugar, so it's carbonated, so you don't have to waste these little CO2 cylinders. But then you use a CO2 cylinder to serve with. So instead of putting oxygen in, you'd be tapping off beer.
Yeah.
And again, like I don't know if you need 4 of these. So if you went halves with a mate, obviously you need 2 taps though.
Yeah.
And so that's $1,000 for that, plus a tap, which is that one. Plus so you're talking like 1,700. So what's that? That's like 750. Is that right? No. 850. $850 each then, like to get. So you could almost get like 4 of them, you know, for the same price. But yeah, so like that would be probably not the cheapest way to do it, obviously, but probably the best way to get started. And then you literally just siphon all your beer into one keg. You haven't got to like stop and start halfway through to do 2 separate ones. And then you can just hoy that in the fridge and tap off from it when you want beer and you know it's going to last a long time.
That would last longer than the other options, like a growler, for example.
Well, the growler you're going to have to also drink as quickly as you normally drink a growler. You know, like a day or 2 max, and it's going to.
Pretty good option.
Yeah.
Especially if you get the tap.
Yeah. Bottles, like swing top bottles, the old Grolsch bottles, are quite cool for homebrewing because you don't need to buy like a bottle capper or caps or anything extra like that. The only the biggest downside for me with that is you're probably going to need to. It's difficult to measure out small amounts of sugar to put in the bottle, so you really want to transfer from the fermenter into a secondary fermenter with the sugar in for carbonation, and then bottle from that secondary. So then you're going to need to buy like a secondary bucket. So probably something like that that one we had before this one here. You know, you probably want to then go into that so you can tap off the bottom and fill your bottles. So although like everyone seems to start bottling, it's something that I did as well, and I didn't enjoy like bottling, especially when you get like to brewing 25 litre batches and trying to bottle like 25 litres of beer is like 75 bottles or something like that. It's a bit depressing then. And to like, so bottles have the advantage of being reusable, but then you got to clean them, and to clean them out properly to reuse them is also not easy on a homebrew level. And obviously the green bottles, the green Grolsch bottles are not great if they get light, but if they sit in your fridge, it's not the end of the world. But otherwise, if you're using if you're reusing brown bottles and you want to cap them, you need to buy the caps, which are quite cheap, but you also need to buy something to cap them with. I'm not trying to turn like I wouldn't bottle. No, I would like I've done this in order of like I'd probably
it's on a budget, like it's got to be growler. You know
yeah. The only like negative with bottle conditioning in a growler is if you want to pour like 2 pints, you're going to stir up that sediment that is going to be at the bottom. But if it's been in the fridge and you pour 1 pint, you put it back in the fridge, that sediment will settle, and then by the time you pour the next one, it'll be clean again to pour.
It really depends on the size of what you can boil.
If you can boil enough to make like that 10 litre fermenter, you can only fill with 9 litres probably anyway, so you get about 8 litres out. You know, if you have one of these kegs and then a growler or something like that, it'd be pretty. You know, if you had like 5 and 7, it'd be quite cool. Yeah, so that's packaging, Okay guys, thanks for watching part 1 of our video on getting started brewing as cheaply as possible. That was all the equipment covered in part 1, coming in just under 600 Rand, about £30 if you're in the UK, and about $40 if you're in the US. Join us for part 2, where we're going to cover the whole brew day, and also a tasting of the final beer. Cheers for now.